Hi friends, and welcome back. So little Jack and I, who is sitting right here, he's just filling his pants at the moment. He said, I just had a really good feed and I'm nice and full. Here's my little Jack River. So we are finally going to do part 2 of labor and delivery. La deuxième partie. Where was I? I know I had the same hair in the video. Top knot's where it's at, you know what I'm saying? Basically, I think I left off with you guys is when my husband came into the operating theater. So I was a little bit like, where is he? Do not start the surgery without him. Let me tell you, I've never been so happy to see my husband in all my life. So he was there with his nice smiling face. What do you think about Dad? The daddy came in and we were waiting for you to show up. So I remember like feeling slight anxiety. Like my husband's a really chatty, social person and our doctor is awesome. And so my husband started speaking to the doctor while he was doing the surgery. And if I could have hit my husband in the head, I probably would have. But I was like, don't speak to him. Like I didn't want him to distract the doctor from this very serious surgery he was about to do. So I remember kind of barking at my husband. He was like, okay. And again, the tears are just pouring the whole time. So I could tell my husband was a little bit worried. But you know, I was really impressed. He wasn't remotely grossed out by what was happening. In fact, he watched the entire surgery. I remember just sort of feeling like, you know, I was telling you guys, I felt like I wanted to run away, like I was terrified. And I started counting all the tiles on the ceiling. So I guess there's a fun fact about me. When I'm in stressful situations, I count things. I don't know, it's probably pretty common. But yeah, I was like counting the bolts in the ceiling and counting all the tiles and just like trying to calm myself, you know? I remember saying a little prayer and kind of, you know, asking my grandpa, because I'm sure you guys know if you've been following me for a while, I lost my grandpa in November. He passed away and he was very important to me. And I remember just saying to him like, oh, don't cry again. Oh my goodness, I just filmed all these fun videos and I swear I'm gonna cry again. But I remember just kind of saying to him like, I felt like he was there. I don't know, I felt like he was present and I just kind of said, just, okay, make sure Jack's okay. Do you know what I mean? So hold it together. I had to change the battery, so I've composed myself. I know, it's scary, like when you're pregnant you worry about the health of your baby and the safety of your baby, and I don't know, I wasn't really worried about myself, but I was just like, just make sure he's okay, you know? It felt like it took a while for them to, I don't know, I was like waiting and waiting for it to be really quick. Like I had said, my experience with having Esme via C-section was like bam, and she was out. You know, doctor was talking to me and I think he kind of just said, okay, so we're just getting to the uterus now. And I was like, really? So I guess what they had done, sorry if this gets graphic, but they'd actually cut out my old scar so that I would only be left with one scar and it would be a new scar, not an incision that had already been cut into. So that's kind of cool. You know, and I imagine there would be some scar tissue and stuff in there for my first surgery, so it took a little bit of time. And obviously there's no rush, so, you know, he wasn't panicked to get the baby out or anything. Then they call my husband and they make him go around the table to be ready to cut the cord, which is so cool because obviously I said before my husband wasn't there when Esme was born, so that was awesome. And then they handed him the scissors to cut the cord, and apparently it's really difficult to cut the cord, like it's quite sinewy, which sounds gross, but I don't know, it's not that gross. I mean, that's how my baby was being fed for 9+ months. And here's where things got crazy, before we get to the cutting of the cord part. So to get the baby out, first of all, the incision is 10 centimeters plus maybe a centimeter or 2 to actually fit my doctor's hand, because he puts his hand in there to take the baby out. And when they go to take the baby out, well, the baby was stuck. He was big and he was in there. So he had the cord wrapped around his head and he was just a big baby and he was like not willing to come out. I kid you not, the nurses, there was 2 of them, one behind my head, one on my right side, and my doctor was on, or excuse me, one on my left side and my doctor was on my right side. They had to push 3 freaking times. Now you think, oh, push the baby out, but it's a C-section. That baby was wedged. And so what they do is they come up behind you and they like push right on top of your rib cage. And oh, he says, I remember. Not like it hurts and you can't feel anything, but you can feel tugging when you're having a C-section. So it kind of felt like if someone was to sit on your stomach. So imagine that feeling really forcefully and 3 times, 3 freaking pushes. Anyway, so they finally got him out. They actually had to use the forceps. That is how wedged he was in there. And the doctor said he had the cord wrapped around his neck and he was really wedged in there. And he was a big baby. I think he was 4.01 kg, 8 pounds, 13.5 ounces, if I'm not mistaken, is the exact conversion. And for me, that's like a whole pound bigger than Esme. So, you know, in hindsight, if you know, you don't know what your labor is going to be like, but I think it's safe to say if I had had the opportunity to do the VBAC,
that it wouldn't have been the easiest of births because he was a full pound heavier. That cord around his neck wouldn't have been ideal. So I don't know, I just think circumstance, you know, it's just interesting how it worked out. I think it was, or I feel it was the best thing that could have happened for both Jack and I in terms of the labor. So yeah, so then 3 giant pushes, the forceps, that baby came out, and all I saw were like, they held him up over the thing, it was like all these arms and legs, and he was so big. He had so much vernix on him. Vernix is like that white stuff, which some people get grossed out by, but whatever. So he had so much vernix on him, and all I heard was, that's one big baby, because in Asia, that is a big baby. And oh, my husband, it was just like, I was like, I can't stop smiling when I think about it, but he was like, oh, I'm gonna cry again. But he was so happy, and I saw him go around and follow the baby, and that, you know, they put Jack under the little light and they were like wiping him and stuff. And then the best part ever, oh my gosh, cannot stop crying, Jack. They brought him over to me. And I love how it says like clearly no photos in the delivery room, but my husband, he don't listen to rules. So they brought the baby over to me, and at first they just kind of let me kiss him, and then Jack calmed down and he stopped crying. And so my husband's like, no, just keep the baby with her, like what's the rush? So they put the baby next to my face, and Jack was just there, and he was like right here, and I was smooching him and kissing him and smelling him, and oh, he was so cute, that squishy face. And it kind of freaked my husband out that he came out and he was like a little bit purpley, but that's normal. And then he turned pink, you know, as he was sitting next to me. And oh, it was just like the most special moment. The tears were pouring. I could not have been happier. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you just don't think that your heart could love anything more than your firstborn, and then you have your second child, and it's like, there's space. Somehow your heart grows to feel love for them both, and his birth was so special to me, and it was like, damn the tears, but it was almost like a healing experience in terms of a C-section, because I was so desperate to have that VBAC, you guys know, and I've been following my journey and stuff, and when I didn't have that, I thought I would be sad. I thought there would be a part of me that feels like I missed out. And I suppose sometimes I do feel like, oh, you know, I won't get that chance to have a VBAC, but the reality is it was perfect in every way, and he was perfect in every way, and oh, he's just cooing, melt my heart. And it wasn't easy. Like, I don't think any labor is easy. The recovery was hard. I might go into that at another point, but yeah, I'm rambling. Oh, to be a mummy is just like the best thing ever. Instagram, my husband took a photo of that moment of me holding Jack, and I'll try to include it in here. If not, you can check out my Instagram, but you'll know the one. The tears are pouring. I'm wearing the, you know, the hat that you wear for your hair in the surgery. But it was just amazing. And then once the baby came out, they took the baby out of the operating room and took my husband with the baby. So it's too cold in there to keep the baby, so they take the baby out and bring them to the nursery. But he was perfect and healthy and happy, and you know, Esme had to be rushed into the NICU because she was in distress. Didn't have that experience this time. It was seriously just amazing. And that was our surgery experience. The only part that got a little bit crappy was that I had told you guys before in my first video that they didn't have a room ready for me. So once I was in recovery, I asked the nurses how long I would be there, and they said about 45 minutes. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Well, 45 minutes came and went, and I was still nowhere near leaving, and I was like, what is happening? I want out of this damn recovery area. You're uncomfortable, the pain is starting to kick in, and the anxiety. So I think once you've had an epidural, it's pretty common for you to experience like a drop of, I don't know what it is, like endorphins or whatever the heck it is, but you feel like, I felt really upset, and I started crying, and I could not stop crying. I was like, I kept focusing on how hungry I was. I don't know if I was actually hungry or if I was just like, I want out of this damn recovery, and I want in my room, and I want my husband, and I want my baby, and I want them stat, you know? I don't know if it was that or anxiety or a combination, but I was like hyperventilating. And so I'd been there for 2 freaking hours, and finally I was just like, I couldn't see I was crying so much. And you know, I'm feeling the throbbing pain coming in from the surgery, and then my doctor came in and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, why am I still here? I'm so hungry. I just felt like I was just starving to death and nobody cared. That's kind of how I felt. And so he actually had one of the nurses sneak me a cup of Milo, because I don't think you're supposed to eat in recovery, but I was like, please, I need something. And Milo is a hot chocolate basically. So I had a cup of hot chocolate and that lifted my spirits. It certainly did. I don't even like hot chocolate, but it tasted so good and they were so sweet. And then finally, after my hyperventilating session, which had probably been about 2 hours in recovery, my room was ready. So they brought me to my room, and the second I saw my husband, it was like all of that was wiped away and I felt instantly better. And I said, bring me my baby, because I wanted to breastfeed like ASAP. So my husband, they brought the baby and then we cuddled and we took some pictures and things, and then my husband went out and got me McDonald's, because it's safe to say that after every momentous occasion in my life, I need a Big Mac. Like if I feel sick or if I've had the stomach flu or something and I'm ready for my first meal, I just want to eat something like that. It's quick, it's dirty, it's good, it's like, it's a shame, it's shameful really, but like honestly I needed it. So he brought me my McDonald's. Jack, oh my goodness, when I saw him it was like the most precious little thing, and he smelled so nice and he had all this dark hair and he nursed like a champ, latched instantly. Awesome thing about your second baby is that they know how to latch. Well, no, they don't know how to latch. You know how to latch. You know what a good latch is. So that's seriously helpful. We breastfed right away. I unwrapped him from his little wrap so we could have like some skin to skin time. And he nursed like a champ and he just laid with me. It was so nice this time that he didn't have like jaundice issues or, you know, needing to be in the NICU or anything. So it was just relaxed in that sense. Like I could keep him in the room, which I did sometimes, but you know what? Because I had had the C-section, I knew that I actually needed to sleep and I actually needed to recover. So I didn't mind leaving him in the nursery this time. I was way more freaked out about that with Esme, but I think this time I knew, like, you know what? I'm only in the hospital for 3 nights, and once I get home, he is with me 24/7. So I'm gonna take this as an opportunity for a break. Some people might frown upon that, but you know what? You go through a C-section and try walking around a hospital room. It's not easy. I was in pain. It hurts, you know? First, I was actually calling the nursery and asking them to bring him every 3 hours to feed. But then I realized, you know what? Let me just sleep. He'll come when he's ready. And those nurses were amazing. Like the second he peeped or cried or whatever, they would bring him into my room for a feeding. So what else do I want to say? So yeah, breastfeeding went really, really well. Yeah, we breastfed. And he was pretty quick actually at breastfeeding. It would be like 10 minutes and 10 minutes and then be done. So that's pretty awesome. One thing that was really unfortunate is that I might have mentioned that I wasn't feeling my best the day of the surgery, and then once I had all that medication in my system, it kind of felt fine. And then 24 hours after I had him, it was like I had been hit with the worst cold ever. And at the time he was born, there was a lot of haze in Malaysia. And I got a sore throat and I got a cold. And then I got a cough. Having a cough when you've just had abdominal surgery, not ideal, not ideal. I think it was, so that not the first night, but the second night, I had a cough. I had a cough so bad that I actually just was like, just end me. I'm good. I'm good with my life I've lived so far. It was horrible. So what you have to do is you have to like hold a pillow to your abdomen. I kind of like, I don't even know, somehow got the cough out. It wasn't a real cough. Just cough and think, oh, that was easy. No, not when you've had a C-section. Let me tell you that much. So, oh God, and then I ate a cookie. My mother-in-law was in town and she baked these delicious soft ginger cookies, melt in your mouth. And I almost coughed on one and thought, I'd rather just die than eat this cookie. It was hard. Are you trying to nurse on my neck? So yeah, what really helped actually, which I didn't use for the first 48 hours, was a belly wrap. So like a belly bandit. A friend of mine lent me one of hers, lent me hers, and it was amazing. It wasn't the Belly Bandit brand, but it was awesome. I highly suggest it. It just feels like it holds everything in and keeps it nice and tight. Even though it was really hot here, I just found it amazingly helpful. So if you can get your hands on one of those after a C-section, do it. It makes a world of difference. And I ended up staying 3 nights in the hospital and came home. I felt like a world better. Every day is easier than the day before when you've had a C-section. So if you can keep your mind on that, if you have to have a C-section, it really does help, and it's really true. And the only other thing I'll say about the hospital stay is that don't be afraid to take the medication. So I definitely used the painkillers. I was in a lot of pain. Even when I came home, I think because I had that cold, I had like even more pain. Oh, monsieur. So yeah, I definitely took pain medication. So, and it didn't seem to bother him in terms of breastfeeding, like it was safe to use while breastfeeding. So all in all, it was a really nice experience. I think that's all I can share with you. I might do like a C-section recovery type of thing video, but honestly, I just took it easy. Take it easy. Why not? You know, it's just a short time really in the long run. So that is it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. We got a little burpee pants over here.